now. Turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
If you heard me scream, oh shit, it's because the notification that we were going live popped up on my phone. I had to change that real quick. So if you're watching or you're
Let's
listening,
not do that.
you're watching and listening the pre-recorded episode of Yellowjackets. Hopefully, yeah, you're not on this link right now because we do this in darkness. But Courtney, welcome back. Welcome back. How's it going?
I need therapy.
Yeah.
And it's y'all's fault. If you're just listening instead of watching, I look more and more disheveled every episode, and it's not on purpose.
Like if this show had episode 10, you would just be rocking with like a cigarette.
I would be smoking a cigarette, and I have asthma.
Yeah.
Ronnie.
How's it going?
Ronnie. Your name is I Stand with Coach Ben. Why is stand in quotes?
Oh my God.
I mean, because I stand in solidarity with Coach Ben.
Mm-hmm. You stand in solidarity.
So quotations don't mean emphasis?
Okay.
Oh, okay. But D, how's it going?
I'm good. I am making it. I am, and I will say this about you. You are right. I am glad that this was the last episode for a minute because we need a break.
We need a break.
Hopefully it's not like a 2-year break, but we need a break.
It might be if they don't pay these writers.
Yeah. We need a minute. We need a minute. Yeah.
So I'm gonna jump into my general impression and just allow me to just have the floor for a second, because this might get lengthy and rambly, but
he's about to rant, y'all.
Yeah, a big one. D and I are about to go take a snack break.
Yeah. Go for it.
Bye.
I would not be surprised if months from now we find out that there was seeds of discord behind the scenes of the show or something, because this very much felt like a series finale, and the way that everything just conveniently wrapped up was done so in a very sloppy way. And a lot of decisions that were made in this episode, once again, this show is very heavy-handed. So I'm not saying it's things happen subtly, but the way that the decisions made in this episode, the choices made in this episode are so atypical from what we've seen. And this is a very long-winded way of saying I'm disappointed with this episode. And furthermore, it's now doing this weird thing where the tone is imbalanced. In the present day timeline, it's becoming a dark comedy, but in the past timeline, it's becoming really, really, really dark. And I would prefer them to just tell us instead of show us, because it's also getting to a point where I don't know how much more of this I can stomach. So I say all that to say, of course, overall this season was good, but if season 3 is mid, I'm off the train. I feel that strongly about the finale.
Yeah. Okay. Courtney?
I think that's fair. Again, as someone that's kind of new, I mean, I binged it, so I'm not new, but
yeah,
I feel the same. I feel like it feels like we skipped some episodes. Does that make sense? This is the sensation, before streaming, when you would miss a TV episodes and that's it, you missed it until the DVD. That's what this felt like. It felt like I was on vacation and I missed a couple episodes and I gotta wait till the box set comes out to connect the dots. That's what it feels like to me. It felt like a lot. I feel like what happens might make sense. I just, some decisions I wouldn't have made in this finale. I don't think.
I think how am I gonna put it? Because I didn't hate it. I want to put that out there. I 100% agree with the dark comedy part, because I'm not saying that I don't know how to watch television. Of course I know how to watch TV, but I also watch TV in a way that helps me to process, right? So I can suspend disbelief if I know that this is fantasy. I can pretend that this makes sense if it's a dark comedy, but if it's supposed to be a certain show and then it kind of pivots, it makes it a little more annoying because I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense versus, oh, okay, they're just being silly, right? There's a slight difference. So I say that to say, I don't like Walter's character at all. Like I don't get why he's there. I don't understand his purpose. In the grand scheme, I do, of course, because it's for Misty, I guess. But like Misty's enough. We don't need a Mr. Misty, in my opinion. I think he feels out of place. Randy also feels out of place, but he's always been there. So that's okay for me, right? That was enough comic relief for me because he's Jeff's fumbling friend who made up this harebrained scheme to blackmail the girls that turned very dark very quickly, right? That's fine. Like that could happen because that's how it went. But Walter's there and then he kills Kevin, and like I wish y'all could see the rage that I had when he killed Kevin, because when he was in the kitchen, I was thinking, well, he's about to kill him. Like, I knew he was going to kill him. I did not know that it was going to be like that because it happened fast and they already said that. But I think I mentioned on last week's episode that they were making it appear that Walter was about to go after the cops. And Ronnie said, well, no, he's going to the compound, whatever, because he had a purple suit. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's what it is. But now that's what I think I think that's the other confusing part. Like, did I just misread it and he was there? Did he some kind of way send Kevin and Matt there? Because it doesn't seem that way. It seems like they followed Jeff. So how did he know they were going to be there? Who was the poison for? Did he just want to have it at the ready in the tea? Like I just didn't know. Again,
we are asking the right questions.
All of my issues are with Walter. I do not. Elijah, you're beautiful, honey. This isn't about you. Your character's terrible, though. That's like
also why? Okay. Before I get into my rant, so I want to ask you another question. So, what season finales do? They answer the questions that they asked you at the beginning of the season, but then they introduce you to a new set of questions.
Huh?
All right. So in the present, I'm going to focus on the present timeline because there are things about the past. In the present timeline, Kevin is now dead. Natalie is now dead. And Shauna seems to be off the hook for the murder. So what are we doing in the present timeline now?
Right. Like Natalie, here's the thing. I saw Natalie dying totally. Like, because she was supposed to die originally. Like, I think it's in a way of like the woods. She was supposed to go, I think, in the older timeline, and the woods is going to take who it wants to eventually. Just like I have this theory of how I originally wanted Shauna's baby, and now her daughter's enveloped in everything. So, like, it's going to eventually take what it wants. But I just don't know if I would have done it this soon.
Right.
I think the present timeline, and this is me giving credit to the show, is showing us, again, Ronnie, that it could be either thing, right? It could be that these are all very odd coincidences and delusion that make it appear that this thing is protecting them. Or it could be that there's this entity protecting them, right? So in the present timeline, the events that happened were very odd. They're very crazy. Walter comes and clears Shauna, and Nat is, unfortunately, she's gone. She passed or whatever else. But now it appears that they've sacrificed the person. They gave the entity or the woods or the wilderness what it wanted. And that's how everything was cleared up. Everything else was just kind of, it was set in motion because of it. So that's what we're. So now in the present time, I guess as far as storylines go, we still got to figure out what's going to happen with Thaisa and her family, if people even care anymore. Because I think people forget that Simone's still in the hospital. Hopefully somebody picked Sammy up from school. Shauna.
I
know. Sammy has been outside of school for like 4 days.
Just 5 hours. Like I'm just out there chilling. Like, man, it's neither mom's coming. Jeff and Callie and Shauna. I don't know. Does Matt retaliate? Is that gonna have something to do with it? Because does Matt have any idea that Jeff was there, or does he think this is all Walter? And if so, who the hell is Walter and where he come from?
Because the way
it's all going back to Walter. Elijah, again, honey, you're lovely, but your character sucks.
The way that I thought that was going to wrap up is the very incriminating text that you have between an adult and a minor. I thought that was going to be the blackmail to like close the case. But all right, let me take a step back. So what I found very jarring about this finale is that, and Courtney, I hear you, and that's actually like hearing you say that is actually like pretty fascinating. But you know, I will push forward anyway. The people who didn't deserve to died in this episode.
I mean, I think that's the point. Isn't the last time the person that pulled the Queen of Hearts, whatever, the last time that person didn't die either.
Yeah,
so I knew as soon as Shauna pulled it, she wasn't gonna die. I knew it.
And I hear you, but from all right, because the name of this episode is like storytelling. So from a storytelling standpoint, like you leave us with Shauna, the terrible mother. You leave us with Misty, who is crazy as shit. You leave us with Taissa, who is a bad wife, and you leave us with Van, Van, I was with you for a second until you turned crazy as hell. so in the present timeline, who is there for us to like? I'm not even gonna say root for because that's not a compelling thing to me. Yeah, exactly. Not hate.
Go back to Van. Let's go back to Van because because Van just fucking flipped on me. I'm like, Van, what is happening?
I was like, Van, after all we've been through,
after all we've been through, Van.
The last 3 episodes, Van. I was like, you turn your back on me.
I think too. I want to talk about Van because now that we're talking about it, it was too obvious that she would be the one to die, right? Because they told her she had cancer. She hadn't been there the whole time. We were saying, okay, of course they're not going to kill the main character. But if you recall, I'm like, well, they might for shock value because we do that now. Sitcoms, I mean, not sitcoms, but TV shows do that now. Yeah. Game of Thrones said, let's kill a main character. And everybody else was like, well, shit, okay. Anybody can get it. And I mean, I'm giving Game of Thrones that credit because that's the first time I had seen anything like that before. I don't think I'd ever seen a main character die like for real. I'm like, oh, he's gonna be here to the end, right? No, he's not. He's dead. He's literally dead, and he stayed dead. So I think that's what they're doing. They kind of like, it's almost like if we don't take a risk, are people going to figure it out or become disinterested, or is it uninterested? Which one is it, y'all? Disinterested, so not interested anymore.
Yeah, but I have a strong theory.
Okay, so what is it?
Go for it.
They had all this talk about how they couldn't keep giving small sacrifices to the woods, right? So I'm wondering if like now that they had their big sacrifice to the woods, things are going to start getting better for everybody. I wouldn't be surprised if Van's cancer went away.
And it probably will. But
I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't like it.
I don't know how I feel. I don't know if I like it, but I'm almost certain this is what's gonna happen.
See, why not just call like Peter Popoff and get the miracle water? Like why do we have to?
I'm willing to bet money that this is what they're doing. Is like, oh, they sacrificed. The woods got to sacrifice. Things are getting better for everybody.
How late are you up at night? Okay, so here's my issue with it. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to make it clear. I still very much like the show. Like I think though at this point, my love for the show is more so because I want to see how it ends versus I just really, really like the show. Okay. So with that said, if if they are just like just throwing stuff out there and cleaning it up because the wilderness says so, then that's lazy.
It is.
Like
I want to go back to the Game of Thrones thing because I feel like they're emulating that, but they're doing it poorly. Does that make sense? Like, because Game of Thrones, it had like there was intent. Like there were consequences, there was reasoning. Ned died for a reason. It had to kickstart like plot of the entire show. You know what I mean? Like, but I feel like they're gunning for that, like the shock value, but there's not intent. Like there's no purpose. Does that make sense? So I think that's what you're getting at 2D. There's no purpose.
Because here's what I was gonna get at. So let's set the scene. So Callie comes out the woods with a gun, shoots Lottie, then the lady who then the young lady who Nat, basically took under her wing and made her feel better about herself. Nat then storms at her with a knife, and like, what? None of those decisions make sense. So what I'm saying is, like, okay, I hear you that it might be, giving an offering to the woods because yeah, like she was supposed to die in place of Javi, and now the person who was supposed to die, being Shauna, didn't die, and that did die. But the fact that, like you said, like the intentionality isn't behind this decision. If it's feeling like it's feeling like an empty decision. Like there's nothing behind it. Like
that's what it feels like.
Yeah, it just felt like they were like, oh yeah, Nat has to die. Like
I think it's like a character that is liked has to die, and I kind of it was so revolutionary when Game of Thrones did it, like Dee said, but now it's kind of like it's not 2012 anymore.
Yeah,
like we have to be creative about it. Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense because
why
to me,
didn't
like,
she?
Oh, go ahead.
I was go ahead because it's go ahead.
I mean, all I was gonna say is, like, this is a trope that we see on
it's done
basically
a lot now.
Like, I'm not even gonna say TVs, but TVs and movie, just media in general, where they use a death as like the turning point of the show. But to me, that's lazy, because if you didn't set that death up to have like emotional stakes, like when that person dies, I'm like, okay, this person just died, and now we're going to do something as a result of this person dying. And I feel that about Nat, because they're so, and I'm not going to like rewrite the show, but I feel like there should have been more breadcrumbs to Nat, like, dying, to make that like more a better emotional decision than what we got. Because like I said, it really felt like, for a show that has two timelines, I don't think there was enough intention between connecting the events of like Javi dying in her place versus like what happened here. I don't think they really did a good job of connecting those dots and making you feel that.
Okay.
Yeah.
They did it in story, but I agree the emotion is lacking, right? Because
right.
It feels like they did it, and you can go back and say, okay, well, the signs were always there, because this season has been about Nat, right? Like they kidnapped Nat, they've been trying to find Nat. Nat's going through this journey, and then once she gets to a point where she's better, then the wilderness claims her, right? So with that, like you said, they did that solely in this present timeline. There should have been, in the past timeline, I guess, little Nat should have been there more, or something. Yeah, it's something missing. There's some meat,
it's something. Yeah, it's something
that's not there. I'm trying to think of who would have made sense, and I think honestly, none of them should have died this season. I think it should have been the next one.
I agree. That's what
we could have made more sense with the next one.
Yeah, I feel like even Nat dying next, it feels like there needs to be more build up, needs to be something more. It just feels like there's no purpose or no consequence, real consequences for this. Like even like it being Misty makes sense because like the whole thing this season's her like, you know, she keeps having people on her list that she, you know, she's responsible for their death, you know. But I just
but why Kevin? Why Kevin?
Yeah.
Like why did Kevin die?
That's the thing. It's like we don't know why. And the thing is like Ned Stark. I hate to keep going back to Game of Thrones, but that's just like it's where it all came from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ned Stark dying made sense because it was in the most Ned Stark way possible. It's because he would not give up who he was, being honorable and this and that. He died because of his own decisions, and it made sense in which the way that he died. So because it was in a Ned Stark way. Like this, none of this made sense.
So here's also why like Ned and Kevin dying in tandem bothers me, because the only person who would have had emotional collateral of Kevin dying is now dead, and that's Ned. Because that's true enough, they all knew Kevin, but Natalie actually dated Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
So the one person that would have been like, Misty, what did you do? Walter, what did you do? You poisoned Kevin. Oh no, the one person that would have said that is now dead.
And they died on the same day thing is like
that does nothing for me. I'm sorry.
But it's when there is a show that is smart and you have to go back and say, oh my gosh, I didn't notice this, like fine, but that almost feels like a happy mistake. Versus this was an intentional thing to have them die on the same day.
Once again, a lack of intentionality. Because
you know what it is?
They didn't sit down and say like, yeah.
Had they mentioned Nat and Kevin again in other than like in passing?
No.
Okay, see that's the other thing.
Because Kevin is primarily like in Shauna's story now.
Yeah,
like there was no intersection between Kevin and Nat this season at all.
And it's because it's mostly been about Nat and Travis.
Yeah,
right.
Which is I was going to ask. Why didn't she see him? And I know that it was on a plane, so I get that's why she saw Javi because Javi was still at the Wilderness. But why didn't she see Travis? Travis is dead too. She saw Lottie. Lottie's still alive, so that means she could have seen Travis, but she didn't.
I guess
it's just
Travis
a weird thing, but
it's just it feels like
he's not.
They wanted to tie up storylines that didn't need to be tied up yet,
and so explain. Let's go back to Van because I need y'all to help me understand her. What is her? I won't say aversion to her. To Lottie being locked up, because I'm sure that's not a nice place to be, right? Mm-hmm. But if you need help, then you need to go get help. So why was she so hell-bent on them not sending her back to whatever institution? That's it, Ronnie. Okay. Not Nat. Van and Lottie's relationship, it wasn't fleshed out enough. Mm-hmm. It wasn't fleshed out enough because her decision not to have her committed in the end felt impulsive, like super impulsive. And for what reason, I don't know. And it might also have something to do with Ty because she kept saying, well, if she deserves to be locked up, then you deserve to be locked up. Was Ty locked up at some point? Because I don't think that she was.
No. I don't think so.
True enough, we know Van loves the hunt in the past, so maybe that was but still, like it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
You know what this feeling reminds me of? And I hate to keep going back to this other show, but remember at the end of Game of Thrones when Daenerys like goes full Mad Queen, like the sensation was this would make sense if we had 2 more seasons leading up to it, but it took 2 episodes to do it. Like that's exactly it. You didn't earn it. So like again, I hate to keep going back to it, but it's the same emotion that I had of this could make sense, but I shouldn't have to make that logical leap for it to make sense for the show.
Speaking of logical leaps, did Walter not shoot Kevin's body?
He did.
He did.
When the police did they not find Kevin's body? Did Matt do something with it?
So here's the weird thing, because all right, no. So here's the thing. So
What is the thing?
Walter took the service weapon of Officer Syracusa. Not
Syracusa.
Yeah, shout out to Tony Syracusa, Big Goose from the Baltimore Ravens, the 99 Baltimore Ravens.
Syracusa.
But we're talking about Syracusa here. But he took his service weapon to shoot Kevin because they want the autopsy to say, obviously, like this person was shot to death. And so his story would be that Officer Syracusa found out about him, but somehow conveniently placed him in the trunk where...
See?
Yeah. So that was a story, but once again, the execution doesn't really... Because he was already in the trunk.
When you look in the trunk and there, so I guess the bullets don't go. I don't know. I quit. Never mind. Let's not talk about Walter because it's really pissing me off. Like Walter's storyline is really pissing me off because
for the record, people, I have known DeAndre for like probably a little more than a decade now. That's the most pissed off I've ever seen her. Like right this moment.
It doesn't make sense.
These usually the ones like, all right, let's not be so harsh.
No, this is Walter's story because they brought the character in, and when you bring characters in, you want them to add to the story. He is adding confusion, and maybe it's going to all make sense in the end, right? And we'll come back to this and be like, see, we should have known. But right now, I'm just at a loss. Walter and Van, like their additions haven't added anything to me as far as
Ron,
story.
you called this. Remember when we had that mid-season break? You actually called this.
Yeah, I was like, something isn't right.
Because you're like, they're needing to edit it.
Yeah, I was like, there's something.
You called this.
Because I was like, either they're still editing the season or they want to extend their season beyond Succession's finale, but they only had 9 episodes and the show ended on the same weekend. So I'm like, why? Because I'm pretty sure they didn't renew this season for a 9-episode run. Like, I'm pretty sure that's not how things work. Like, I know
you think something's missing.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I feel like things are missing. I feel like there's pieces missing.
Kind of like Courtney said, they took damn near a whole episode out. I don't know where, but there's damn near a whole episode missing.
I was going to say, well, where could it be, though? It could be between 8 and 9.
Is. Oh, I thought you were saying, like, where in the trash it is.
It could be between 8 and 9. I guess.
Yeah, like there's something just not like either they decided to leave something on the cutting room floor or something's off though.
So what? Okay, well, can we go to the past then? Back to the wilderness.
Yeah. Let's go to the past.
So was this the episode when Mari saw the blood, or was that last episode? When she saw the blood coming from the walls. I think that was the last one. When we found out Nugget wasn't real.
Yeah, that was the last one.
That was August 9th. Okay, so this episode in the wilderness is when they decided to... Oh, okay, so Lottie woke up, but she's in a lot of pain and she's about to die, pretty much. Oh, that is what I wanted to bring up. There we go. They need to really, and I mean really flesh out what they mean by we did this to her, because Van kept saying it. She's like this because of us. We made her like this. Right. And I can't figure out why she keeps saying that.
Right.
My okay. So my biggest problem with this episode, and I've been waiting until we get to this point. So you spent all season building the basically the supernatural element, and then you kind of like lean in and go wink wink, by the way, it might be all manufactured, because when Misty is talking to Lottie, she was like, I don't give a fuck what you're saying, like you better let them believe that this was all for a purpose. So and once again, this part is me reaching, but when I think Van means when she says we did this to her, it's because now they are pushing her to be like this messiah of the woods in the past timeline. Like I feel like they kind of acknowledge, like, because kind of what I was saying in a previous recap, like it's almost like they created a god because they needed one. They needed a reason to keep going in the woods. So I think they now know that they may have pushed Lottie further than she would have gone originally.
With that said, though, because I'm with you, but that's why I'm saying they have to push it, because you can't say that and then in the same episode now show us that Nat is the new Queen Superior. Right. Unless they say, as soon as we made Nat the queen and not Lottie, the cabin burned down. So it has to be you.
So I know I've been shitting on the episode like all recount, but the one compelling thing is, by the way, like next season should be like 75% in the past, 25% in the present.
I agree.
The compelling thing now is Shauna thought it should be her, and Lottie pretty much like crowned Nat. So that is going to be the interesting part going forward.
And she mad as hell about it too. Yeah. Like that's the thing. Like she bent the knee. Shout out again to Game of Thrones. Yeah. But she very much was like, you know, like people said, she was writing in her burn book, you know, this girl is a fugly whore. Do not trust her. I was supposed to be like Shauna is very much feeling like she is the reason they've survived. And I guess it's because she's the butcher. I guess. But you wouldn't have anything to cut if it wasn't for Nat before now. Now, I mean, at least at this point, yeah, you're killing each other, but or maybe she feels like it was her. She's the reason they even started with the whole eating people, because she did that too with Jackie.
Well, yeah, she was like, I'm the one who got the buffet started.
She's like, I was the first in line.
It was me.
That Golden Corral.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is a golden opportunity for a meme usage. I don't know what into that process. I met the criteria to be selected, but I wasn't. That was Shauna.
I wish you could have put juxtaposed her face on his body. But okay, so like if we really break down what is going on, okay, so there was this really weird part where where Travis took a bite of Harvey's heart, his uncooked raw heart, which was very gross, very weird. And then they ate the rest of him, which is fine. Like, I mean, I'm saying it's fine because y'all like they had to survive. Cool, okay. But Coach has found a place that they can survive through the winter. Now, my question to y'all is like, I've never been in a fight or flight situation, right? Thank God. I've never been in a situation where I had to survive anything like that. But even when it comes down to stuff like that, in like the zombie apocalypse and all that stuff, I've always wondered, what is the will to survive? Right?
Mine
not saying you
minimal.
should just
Let me say
not just saying you should just die, but I'm saying like maybe you should just die. Yeah, like you have
just give me a reason.
Like, a lot of the stuff we live for now is because we have stuff to look forward to. Like we have life, we have the next day, we have whatever else. Like that those are things that keep you going. But if your next day is going to be a day of you starving, or a day of you fighting zombies, or a day of wondering if you're going to be the person that they eat next, what makes you find a place to wait out the winter? I mean, is it still the hope that you'll be rescued? I mean, I know they were, but
imagine fighting a moose in the woods and then going home to some built soup.
See what I'm saying?
Like, imagine.
Why? And on top of that, possibly being the soup next week. Like
you might be the soup next week.
Why not just say? And then that was another thing, because what's her name? Lottie said that you can submit or you can run, and they were almost like, we hope you run, please run, like please run, please, I'm begging you to run. So I'm like, at that point I just be like, all right, we all know what it is, let's go and get this show on the road. So with that said, I'm wondering if Coach was decided that these girls are too far gone and they need to die, why does he want to survive? And I'm not saying, of course, don't stay in the house and burn alive, because I'm pretty sure that's probably one of the worst ways to die. But
to explain the name, I stand with Coach Ben. One of the good things that they did this season is to provide backstory to Coach Ben. So I feel like his sole reason for surviving is that he hopes that he survives so he could go home and make things right, because he obviously missed out on like the love of his life by making this selfish decision, going on this trip when he said he wouldn't, not coming out and not embracing the love of his life. So I feel like that's his reason to survive. And I'm glad you mentioned that you don't know what you would do in a fight or flight situation, because I think Coach Ben like very like squarely knows like who he is and what he want to do, and he's already accepted that. He's like, these girls gotta fucking go. Like so in I guess in the spirit of being heavy handed, we have zero like confusion as to like who burned down that cabin.
Oh yeah, zero.
Absolutely. So does that mean the wilderness is going to take the coach? So this is again where we go, or
he's the hunted now.
Okay,
like,
so here
clearly,
because they're gonna know it was him, right? Like they're gonna.
They have
because they couldn't get out, so they have to know at some point. Like somebody not only set the fire, they locked us in here. There's no electrical fire. What else could have started a fire in the middle of damn winter in the wilderness? It has to be intentional. And where did he get the accelerant? Because that thing went up. I don't know.
I mean, he probably went back to the plane.
He had to. True. He had to. He had to have, like he said, look, like you said, hate to say that these bitches got to go. Like they have to die. And the best way for me to do it is to just kill everybody. Because he wasn't going to eat them. So let's just let them all burn in here.
No.
And then I'll just go and wait it out in the wilderness. What was he going to eat? Was he just going to die down there?
I guess
he's just going to figure that out along the way. I don't know.
Or get more sparrows that fall. I guess. I don't know, man. What are they going to do now? They don't have shelter.
So,
and the person who knew about the other place, Javi knew about the place. Ben took the map and Javi was telling, well, he did tell Nat there was a place. So maybe she went to look for it. Because remember, he said, I know a place where we can go. So she doesn't know exactly where it is, but maybe she's going to go across because she's just going that direction and look for it.
Yeah. So,
sorry to. What? Yeah. No. Remember, the other one showed Taissa where it was. So Van knows where it is.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Van knows where it is. So maybe that's where they're going to go.
Well, they know where it is, but do they know what it is?
What's down there? Well, I mean, if they get to it, then what do they have to lose in searching for it? Especially now, they don't have anywhere else to go. They got to find shelter. Even though it looks like spring is coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, spring is coming.
Yeah, so they know where it is. Well, yeah, they know where it is. They've been to it. They just didn't go down into the cave or whatever. Coach is gonna be pissed when he come out of there and see them. The hell y'all doing alive? How are you still alive?
Like the worst Groundhog Day ever. Like, damn. Like, damn. They out here.
What am I gonna do now? I can't kill them all. Kill them all now. So so all of that happens. Now I want to reiterate what we were saying about y'all saying the wink to it being supernatural. They did a better job of it before.
Yes.
Because you remember we debated about it because I was on the well, maybe it's not supernatural. Maybe this is all in their minds, and then I converted straight to, it has to be supernatural now because
I went the other direction.
Heavy with
but I did too. And that's, I'm like, okay, now are they be like, but is it like, it was cute at first, the is it or isn't it now, but now like the bouncing back and forth is too much. I'm like,
or
either like make it but don't like swing the pendulum.
Yeah, it's not sleek. Yeah, it's just very. It's not rough. Sleek anymore. Yeah, it's rough. It's just very much like today is supernatural. Tomorrow it's a delusion. Then
I'd
it's
rather
not.
Keep it like up in the air.
Yeah, because the show that you and I love like did that very well. Like The Leftovers, like where the show ends and you're like, it could be either one. But this one is like they pose the question to you, and then it was like, we're gonna answer the question for you. And shows like this, like, it almost gets to a point where I'm like, do you trust me, the audience? Like, because are you? It's almost like you're trying to answer the question for me instead of, because that's why I really like the first few episodes of the season, because we started to play into that great area. But now it's like, nah, let's show our hand a bit, and I don't like that as much.
I don't either. Well, what do you need to be back into This Is a Great Show?
So we have this, because it's become lopsided now. So we have to find some way to make the present day timeline compelling. I don't want the show to, because given the nature of the show, I don't want the show to turn into like torture porn either.
Gory,
like gratuitous gore, like, because the thing with Jackie, although that was like so tough to watch, the way they handled that was kind of like as graceful as it could be, although they were eating their friend's face. But the thing with Javi, I was like, nah, this is too much. So I think they have to find a way to like kind of like strike that balance between like depicting these very horrific things that these people went through, but also like have a stronger connection between like the past and present, because right now it kind of feels like two separate shows, and one show I'm not as interested in.
It was like, I felt like
very compelled in,
yeah, and that's where all the story is. Like, the first season, of course, is in the present because you're setting us up to figure out what the hell is going on. It starts with the blackmail, right? So we gotta find out who these people are, and then we see bits of it. Like, we see Taissa has sacrificed Biscuit, and all of these things are breadcrumbs getting you to the past. Then you think this season is going to be a whole lot more of what they did. Now, I will say they gave us a lot of it, but it was the worst parts without it being interesting. So like you said, it just becomes gore and torture porn, because even though Lottie survived, that Fight Club scene was just like, okay, we get it. She beat her ass. Like, how many times, how long does this have to last? You know what I mean? Like, we get it. We get it.
It was uncomfortable and not in a productive way. I agree. Right. I think one thing, if they, like, I like your point, Ron, where they were like, if next season it was 75-25 majority in the past.
Yeah.
And that's what we want. That's what we want. Well, I think too, it would help to know how long it's gonna go. Like, I've gotten to the point where I'm very much.
Yeah,
5 seasons. So I'm very much 4 seasons.
I feel like 4 seasons would be better.
They're still sticking to the 5 seasons arc, apparently. The creator said that in the most recent interview, that they're still sticking to the.
I feel like 4 is better.
I can see it. I can see it.
Callie, you got a whole story with Callie. Maybe she'll make you happy. I see. That's the other thing. I think the other thing is too, even when you have bad people, like you said, Ronnie, you've got to have somebody that's semi-likable or semi-redeemable or somebody to root for. You don't want to watch evil just win, right? And the thing I think that's like one of the most hurtful things is seeing that both Javi and Nat are kind of written off as drug abusers who kind of fell back into that, and that's not what it was. So that sucks, right? Like, in death, their legacy or their lives and all the hard work they endured over time to be better is diminished. And especially because, it was Misty with Nat. That's what I think makes me so upset about it, because Nat deserves a better death, I guess, than what she got. But maybe she doesn't. Like, maybe she's just a truly awful person and this is what she gets. I don't know. Charlotte needs to go. And I guess she is going to the place now, because they said they're going to take care of you. So she is going to an asylum of some sort.
Yeah, she's just going to leave behind her,
her cult. Like, who's going to take over? And what's going to happen to the girl who knows what actually happened to Nat? Did they just tell her not to say anything?
Who knows?
Like that, where is she gonna go? Because I can't imagine her. I'm just I can't imagine her just saying, okay, yeah, Nat died of an overdose. Because she saw what happened. She saw Misty do it. And she did it, and Nat died saving her. So I can't see her just saying, oh, okay, well, we're just gonna let this play out and just make it seem like she died for no reason. Unless they killed her too. Is she dead?
Mm-hmm.
And where's the goldfish? Just saying.
You're asking the real questions now.
It's waiting to be picked up at school.
Yeah, we're saying so. We've got to So next season, or at least within the next few seasons. No, it's got to be next season, right?
Yeah. Next season, 3 years from now, when the strike is
3 years now, when the strike's up. We've got to see what happens. So who do we have left? We've got a Matt storyline, kinda. Matt could really just go away. He could. Matt could just disappear.
He probably will. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so
he probably will, especially after the writer's strike.
Okay, so that means we no longer have a Jeff storyline. Shauna is there. Callie saw what happened in the woods, so she's there. The rest of the Yellowjackets, Van Ty, and Misty, and Walter. Mm-hmm. I don't care about any of those people.
Mm-mm. You know one thing I'm
Ty. I guess I kind of care about Ty, like a little bit. So maybe that's who we need to be focusing on.
You know what? I want to expand on what I'm curious about, like with the group. Again, they didn't make it interesting enough, but what's the end game if they keep doing these hunts? Like you're just gonna be like one down, one down, one down, one down.
Like damn, I'm the last. I'm the last one.
I thought about that in the middle of this episode. I'm like, okay, but wait, like they need to address that. Like, how many are you gonna do until it's like a 1v1?
Like damn, I gotta hunt myself now. Like
damn, it's it. It's over. But that was my question too. The wilderness is choosing, but why? Why does the wilderness need a sacrifice? And again, after a while, who will you have left? Mm-hmm. Why would you sacrifice your people?
Even worse, if you play this game, and let's now lean more into the supernatural and say this does exist. So if you play this game and the wilderness does indeed choose, like you think it's just gonna stop with you and claim, and say you're the victor? No, it's not gonna happen. Like
I said, I think Shauna's kid isn't implicated now too.
Yeah.
But she got, I guess, okay. So the wilderness didn't choose then the baby, but the baby didn't make it. So you would think that's the sacrifice.
Yeah, I'm curious about that narrative. Because they haven't addressed
the blanket.
That.
No, I go back to the blanket with the symbol on it.
Yeah. And the baby didn't make it. So you would think, and then after that, like I said, all the birds fell out of the sky. So there was that. Yeah. And then now, whenever they sacrifice a person, then they just eat the person. And I'd be like, well, if I'm sacrificing a person, at least can you give us some more birds? I'd rather eat those.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It just doesn't make sense.
For those listeners, though, I know what y'all think. I would still recommend this show, by the way. Like, I would give a heavy warning, though, about season 2 and say it's very, very graphic. It's a lot of violence in season 2.
Yeah, I'm not off the train yet, but what I'm saying is, like, I have.
You're playing basically like. Job.
Yeah. My frustration stems from like the standards that were set in the first season, and even like the most of the second season. So I'm not off the train.
That break.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a sophomore slump, and then they'll pick it up after this. Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We shall see.
After the writer's strike, when they get paid a living wage.
And they'll mean it. They'll come back with a bang and be like, hey, this is what y'all were missing.
Yeah. Also, hey, maybe on it. Wait. Okay. Stupid theory that's probably not true. What if like they changed the editing because they knew the writer's strike was literally about to happen, and they're like, well, we don't know how long it might be.
So let's just wrap it up. I mean, it could have.
It could like I think that break was like right before the writer's strike.
So the wild part with that is like They were in the room to start writing season 3 the same day the writer strike happened. So I mean, there might be something there. There might be something.
Because a lot of times they have these writers there to make these like mid-season changes too.
This would definitely.
If the writers aren't in the room to do those mid-season changes because they're about to strike.
Y'all remember the first one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember what happened to Heroes.
This could very well be that though, because you can, if you live through it, if you're old enough to remember.
Breaking Bad season 1, yeah.
You can look at the shows and say, okay, well, this was during the strike, and then if you go check the dates, you can see it. So that may be what this is. Like, we'll look back and say, okay, well, this was.
That's my rant. That's my Ron rant. Is Heroes had the potential to be such a good show. Like season 1 of Heroes was so good. And then you see season 2 is like, but season 3 of Heroes, like that's where it starts to go.
Yeah, I'm rewatching now. Because why not? So
was just
yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I have had my Walter rants. Y'all know how I feel about him. Elijah, again, you're great, darling. So hopefully they'll do something with him and make him make sense next season, because he still doesn't make sense to me. Even with the whole citizen detective thing, it just doesn't.
It's like they wanted to put Elijah Wood somewhere in the show.
Yeah. Somebody just liked him and was like, let's get Elijah. Let's write a character specifically for Elijah and throw him in here and we'll make it work. But they didn't.
So here's the thing about Walter now, because they have a Walter problem. The one thing that would have been interesting to do with Walter would be so cliche if they did it.
What?
Make him the baby.
Huh?
Make him the baby. Make him the baby. But see,
no.
That's another thing. I'm just joking. That was always fun for me to just make everybody the baby until the baby died. Now it's like nobody's.
Now it's not fun anymore.
Oh my god! Yeah. People are like, "Oh yeah, officer,
Jeff's the baby."
Yeah, Jeff is the baby. But no. Obviously, like we use this phrase a lot. Joking, but I'm going to be literal when I say this. He knows where the bodies are buried. So what if he, got in with Misty to, dig up some Yellowjackets dirt, but for like a bad reason.
Or if he was related, they could have even made him related to Adam.
Yeah. Yeah. But any of that would be like, it's like we could see it coming a mile away now.
Is that done now? Is Adam's story done? They're just gonna blame it on Kevin? That's the end of it?
Yeah.
Okay. So for what? Why? What was the reason?
That's the whole
Adam was just the guy.
Season.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the theme of the season. What was the reason?
Okay. Jessica Roberts, that's done too. All of that is just done.
Yep, done.
Okay. I mean, okay. R.I.P. Kevin. R.I.P. Nat. Don't all people too. Yeah. People died this season. Jessica.
Yeah.
But that was last season.
My interest if y'all keep carrying on like this, but no, seriously. Like to wrap this up, because by the way, I want to shout out you, the watchers, the listeners. Our Yellowjackets recaps have been pretty popular, so thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. So I want to say, my frustrations is solely from the fact that my expectations for this show were sky high, and I'm disappointed.
They're very high.
Just disappointment. It's just disappointment. That that happens. Cool. That second season is always pretty tough. Like you said, the sophomore slump. I'm still on board, just slightly disappointed. That's all. But yeah, thanks for watching and watching these recaps, and thanks for listening. But also comment and let us know what you think as well. Let us know what you think about the finale. Let us know what you think, where you think the show is going when it finally returns. So yeah.
And also hope writers are gonna get paid or it's gonna get worse.
Yeah. And let us know which timeline you like better too.
We don't know.
It's gonna be the best.
Also, I need to be the scab allegations. I'm not a scab.
He is a scab.
Yep. He crossed that
He is
picket
a
line.
scab.
I am not a scab.
Call
He
him
crossed
out.
the
Y'all
picket
can call him
line.
whatever y'all want. Make sure
I
it's
heard
scab.
he was in the CEO of Warner Brothers office.
Laughing and chopping
I
up.
was across the street. But I was across the street in a different
We
part
will disown you. Just so y'all know, if we find out these allegations are in fact true, we will kick him out.
The guillotine is
We
ready.
stand with the writers.
I too stand with the writers, and yeah.
You make your
Like
donation.
Coach Ben.
Much like I stand with Coach Ben on that very sturdy crutch, but I think that's where we'll stop it for today. But seriously, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Also, let us know. Comment
what do you
and
want
let
to
us
see
know
us
what.
cover?
Yeah, let us know what you're watching. I know The Bear is coming back. I know shit that's gonna be it, unless you want to watch Joe and the Gaines put shiplap on the house. It's gonna get real tough these next few months. But let us know what you're watching.
Jonathan.
Yeah, let us know if you're going back and like watching something that you didn't watch previously. Let us know.
Oh my god, we should do a Heroes.
Oh Lord, no.
I've never seen Heroes, so I might actually be.
Never?
Yeah, I might. No, never.
You know it's on your favorite
You're gonna
network.
love the first season. But
Wait,
then you're
Peacock?
gonna be so angry.
It's on. Oh, I'm never gonna watch it then. But yeah, so I'm never gonna watch it if it's on Peacock.
Hey, y'all know how Peter and that chicken fought on site? That's running in Peacock.
Yeah,
imagine a literal peacock, but the network. That's him in the Peacock for real. I don't know why he hates Peacock, but he hates Peacock. Hey, Peacock, executives for Peacock, we will get rid of him if you need us to.
Because you see what I did at Quibi, right? I took down Quibi myself.
Single-handedly.
Peacock is my next venture. I'm taking down Peacock. But
no, I enjoy Peacock. He hates Peacock for some reason. I don't know what y'all did to him, but he hates Peacock. Hates Peacock.
Because did you ever watch Poker Face? So I did watch Poker Face, but that's the thing. I started off watching it on Peacock, and then I was like, I hate the Peacock out because I have these logins, so I just started watching it on in other methods that I'm not gonna say out loud.
You just hate it that much.
Yeah,
really hates Peacock. Well, okay. But yes, please let us know what y'all are watching, and if you'd like us to talk about it, because we love talking about television. It's our jam.
Everyone say Heroes.
Yeah, say Heroes. Yeah.
Watch it though. I think you'd enjoy it.
Just watch the one season.
It's right there on Peacock for you.
Well, yeah. Until next time.
Peace.